This is all about really saving ourselves as a society because our food system is in serious trouble. I mean, we really don't have enough food, good food, to feed the world. This is kind of where it's at, the production. But we have to first be able to produce local, sustainable food to be able to fix the problems that we have in our food system.
This is about recovering our health, right? This is about recovering our economies, right? This is about self-determination, yeah? This is about feeling like we got a shot at the next 50 or 100 years of surviving in a righteous way, right?
Never come with a warning. A revolution never sends you an omen. A revolution just arrive like the morning. Ring the alarm, we come to wake up this morning. They're telling you to never worry about the future. They're telling you to never...
I'm Will Allen. I'm a farmer and the founder and CEO of an organization called Growing Power. We started out almost 20 years ago with a farm on Silver Spring Drive. That one's a little bit bigger. They're getting bigger.
Revolution never come with a warning. A revolution never sends you an omen. A revolution just arrive like the morning. Ring the alarm, we come to wake up the snoring. They're telling you to never worry about the future.
Right there, that chicken. No, look, right there. I know it was good. Wait.
Okay, let's be real careful with the eggs, okay?
Okay, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Okay, 22 total. So what I need you to do is...
It's right 22 on the board.
That's a good call. Sounds like you've done this before.
Yes, I did.
All right.
I did it yesterday.
Your booty a little bit. Just a little bit. See. Oh, just calmly grab it. There you go. Set it in there. Good job, guys.
A worldwide movement is underway to reclaim our right to affordable, nutritious food. To that end, this former pro basketball player started Growing Power Inc. in 1999. It's both a place and an idea.
So we're growing energy here. We're growing soil, we're growing people, and we're growing the community because we're anchored here in a community that badly needs food. You know, this farm system is a unique farm system. It's part of, I think, ag of the future. Ag of now and ag of the future in terms of how we grow food here very intensively, using every square foot. So part of that, this whole concept is really about growing community as well as providing the most important thing to all of us, which is our food. Right. Well, like I said, I started back 18 years ago, and I've seen this movement actually grow into what I call the good food revolution. Everywhere I go, hundreds of thousands of people are interested in growing food and wanting to eat better food and want to be a part of this revolution. Well, in 1993, I was operating my 100-acre farm, and I was marketing produce from my farm out in Oak Creek into the city. I was really looking for a place to sell some of my vegetables on the retail side, and this being one of the busiest streets in Milwaukee, and when I saw that location, it just, I said to myself, this is the place that I could land. I knew a little bit about the area. 5 blocks away is the largest housing project we have here in Milwaukee called West Lawn, but there's only no major grocery stores. So it was pretty much what is called a food desert in a sense, where the only access to food was fast food and corner stores.
I actually lived out here by this location of Growing Power, which is on 55th and Silver Spring. I lived on 64. So when I was working for him, he said, well, Karen, if that greenhouse over there on 55th and Silver Spring ever come up for sale, you let me know. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Didn't think nothing of it. Next, I think about a year later, Will told me, he said, I purchased that business on 55th and Silver Spring. And I was like, you did? Why? I was like, that place is full of fleas and cats and old people. Why would you want that? And he said, well, I'm going to turn it into a Southern grocery store. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. So then a call came after he opened it up and he asked me to come manage. But at that time I was working full-time at another job and I didn't want to give up that job. So he told me he couldn't offer me the same pay, but he told me if I stuck with him, we was going places.
I wanna go back to the garden. I wanna know how.
We're not just growing on one plant. We're growing on multiple levels. Okay, this is an aquaponics system. This is one of the largest systems that we have. Again, we go down about 5 feet. We dig these out by hand. We build we frame it up, put in 45 mil pond liner, build the shelves, add pea gravel, and we're in business. Now this system starts with a 5,000-gallon swimming pool that's heated to 85 degrees. We get about a 5-degree drop-off in temperature as the water leaves there and goes into this system on the right. And then
Living in a higher vibration.
Piles of wood chips in the corner. These are actually mushroom beds. This is a mushroom that does not mind disturbance, and so it doesn't care that I'm digging up a big handful of it. So a little sort of mushrooms or fungi 101. Mushrooms that we're going to pull off of these mushroom chandeliers up here they're basically like harvesting the fruit off the branch of a tree. That's not the organism itself. These white threads that are running all through these wood chips and straw, that is the body of the critter.
So what they'll do is they'll fly in the direction that the food is, and they will come back and do a dance. I call it the veranda. If you look at all these hives, there's a little outcropping at the bottom of each hive, the veranda or the porch. The bees will do a figure-8 dance on the porch in the direction of the food, the size of their dance. They do it in a figure-8. The size of their dance denotes the distance to the food source.
so there's a technique to doing this. You know, you're looking at 50 years of doing this now. I'm not telling you it's going to take you 50 years to learn how to do this, but, you know. And then you got wind. When you got wind, you got to kind of play the wind, too. You know, it's like playing basketball. You shoot, and the basket's over here, and the wind's blowing, so you got to shoot the ball over here and make the basket.
So what is that you're planting?
This is lettuce, a lettuce mix.
He's an inventive person, innovative, always experimenting. Sometimes the experiments would take hold, other times they wouldn't. But he constantly was looking ahead to kind of grow the organization. Now, of course, everybody knows it's on a very small site, 2 acres of land. And basically, almost all the growing that's done, the fish, the worms, the wide variety of greens and so on, is done in those greenhouses and those hoop houses. So it's really intensive urban agriculture. And Will's kept on moving, gaining a reputation for being someone not only who talked the game, but actually was doing something.
Growing Power is a local asset, a national model for the urban farming movement, and a leader in the global good food revolution. It's also full circle for its founder.
My parents left South Carolina because of the harsh conditions. My father because of sharecropping. and not making enough money to make a living. So one day he just dropped his plow and mule, headed for the Washington, D.C. area where some of his siblings had moved earlier. But being one of the eldest children, he had to go out and work from a very early age, so he never really got an opportunity to go to school. I never thought we were poor because we always had this abundance of food that my mother was such a great cook and had learned to cook from a very early age and always cooked more food than our family could eat. So it became a destination for our friends and later on my teammates in high school to come at separate time and to eat, and to share food, which is something that I continue to do today. But that pattern was set, and she spent a lot of her hours in that kitchen cooking large amounts of really, really good food that we grew. We grew about 95% of the food that we ate, we grew on the farm. Now, I fell in love with basketball. I didn't play basketball until I was like 13 years old. I fell in love with the game. I put up an old peach basket on an oak tree. I didn't have anybody teaching me. We had just gotten a television for the first time, so I used to watch Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, and Wilt Chamberlain became my hero. I had the one-handed fadeaway jump shot off the backboard and all that. Back then in 1967, it was only a couple years after President Johnson had signed Civil Rights Acts and so forth. So in the South, there were still segregated schools and so forth. When I signed, they made a big deal out of it, being the first African-American basketball player there. Everybody in the South probably heard about it, and I started getting letters from North Florida saying, like, go home, nigger, we don't want you. You know, you got a lot of negative responses when you went into those arenas. When you're playing, a lot of the stuff, you may hear it before the game, but once you get in the heat of battle, you don't hear anything. You're just playing. After I got into my pro career and then I wound up playing in Europe, some of my European teammate families were involved in farming, so I went out on the farm one day and it became a transformative moment for me. They were going to plant some potatoes, and as soon as I started doing that, that old feeling came back. I just felt I had to do this. And I actually I got 25 chickens, and I started growing food over there. My wife wanted to go back home to Oak Creek, which is located right outside of Milwaukee. Her family had some land that was just sitting around. 10 years later, I started working for Procter & Gamble in sales and sales technology. My farming just kept increasing. As I got to know Milwaukee and started building my marketing and my produce into the city of Milwaukee, in 1993, I was driving down this street, Silver Spring Drive, saw a sign that this old greenhouse farming operation was for sale. The alderperson, Don Richards, was a former priest and a farm boy from Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
City development people came to me and said, we have this truck farmer from Oak Creek who wants to start a community garden in here. And so in walks Will Allen, and he's 6'7", African American, basketball player, and it completely blew my mind.
I said I would hire young people from the neighborhood and teach them about farming, give them jobs. He really liked that, and he said he had too many churches in his district anyway. And what I was doing was religion in itself if I would hire these kids.
Our youth corps is, we take on young people from the time they're 9 years old, and we actually interview them and their parents. So it's not a job, it's a educational program. And we teach the young people a variety of different things around the food system. So they learn pretty much everything that we do in the organization over time. And the goal is to get them prepared for either a vocational career, teaching them life skills. They learn a lot of different life skills, and also to prepare them for higher education.
I started at Growing Power when I was 9 or 10 years old. I'm 20 now. Will actually offered me a scholarship to Fort Valley State University, and that's where I'm currently at in Fort Valley, Georgia. When I was in youth corps as a child, I didn't really understand, why do we have to, sweat, and why do we have to dig these ditches? Why do we have to, do all this hard work? And now that I'm older, I see, what we're doing and have a very good understanding of why it's important to grow healthy food.
So what's your project today?
We are filling in buckets with compost.
What are you planting?
Herbs.
Do you like it? What do you like?
I like when we put the plants in, we have to dig a hole. That really gets our hands dirty.
Yeah, after they built this frame here, this beautiful frame here with the solar panels, we just kind of nestled ourselves in this holding area, the plants, where they hold the plants. We just kind of made it our classroom, it's like Growing Power. It's like get in where you fit in or find a space, There's always some space. We have a lot of mini lessons in there about the environment and things that people can do to help save our earth.
So you guys study and you work and eat. And do they give you popsicles at home?
No.
Really?
We don't eat junk here.
No junk here?
We eat healthy stuff.
Do you like vegetables?
Yes. A little.
What's your favorite vegetable?
Broccoli.
Broccoli.
Broccoli. Carrots. Corn too. Corn.
I first thought about having to talk about what Will Allen or what Growing Power means to me. It was a real interesting experience. I think to tell you what it means to me, I have to really go back and tell you what it meant to me. When I was 8 and 9 years old, at that time it meant, I remember going to a market randomly with my mom, and it would be this big guy who would have cats in a corn crate. And for me, at 8 and 9 years old, that meant I got to have a new pet. We got to take this crate home with the cat in it, and I got a new cat. So a little more time passed, and I was 11, and then we was at the Fondy market. And so now this turns out to me that on Saturday mornings I'm getting up and we're going down to the market. There is no store yet. We're going down to the markets. I'm a kid, I'm getting dollars and quarters in my pocket. I get to help sell the sweet corn and the watermelon, and I'm running around, I'm going to the corner store. It's just fun being around other kids. I'm not even really realizing that I'm working now, but that's what's going on. So by the time 14 rolls around, and my mom said that Will is going to open up this store, Will's Roadside Farm Market over on 55th and Silver Spring, and she's going to help him, and she's going to run it, which means she's going to be working there real hard for a long time, and she's going to move us into the house next door so she can keep an eye on us. Which essentially meant to me at 14 that I wasn't going to be able to do nothing.
I think with the guidance of me and, like I said, the safe haven of Growing Power, it has made me and my family very successful. It was so much positivity, even though, I'm gonna tell you, to this day, I don't like the birds. I like everything else about Growing Power. I cannot stand the birds. I can eat chicken, but I'm not feeding them. I'm not going back there. But Growing Power has added so much, and has enriched our lives so much. And I give credit, I say Growing Power, but I really want to say Will Allen. He has added so much, because when we came, it was Will's Roadside. His vision was happening, but it evolved into something totally different.
Right now, it's time for us to meet your trainers. And then we're going to give you the locations of where you're going to meet these folks to get started with our workshops. We're a little behind schedule, but that's okay. Because we can go into the night, right? Yeah, right. As long as we don't interfere with those Packer fans we have amongst us. We're going to do composting and vermicomposting. You guys are going to go outside and you're going to get a really good workout. That's all I can tell you. It's the real deal. It's all about the soil. So we're going to have some fun. What makes your compost better?
Give them the vermicompost.
I already told you.
We got the soil microbiology in our compost. We got vermicompost, and we did trials. It's superior.
And the other idea we had was sort of a block watch model that we would, people that were interested in each neighborhood, we would train them in composting. So we want to get a worm bin and a compost pile in everyone's backyard.
Collect our waste, be consistent, develop those relationships, pick up on time to keep those accounts. Very difficult thing to do. So just to go out there and launch in and teach you how to do it doesn't make sense. You have to have a compelling reason. The other reason we do this is to show you all that to come up with a conceptual plan doesn't take years and months and so forth. That you can come up with really good plan in about 10 minutes. So, all right. So what we're going to do next is go outside and we're going to make compost. So there's some lessons to be learned in doing this.
More waste.
Lots and lots, it's going to shrink.
You have to rip it out to find it. There you go.
Just do one more. Someone give me a hand lift and this give me a hand lift and this wheelbarrow.
Nice to see you. But we still got to work. Be a mess. So after this, what do we do next? Nicholas got it. So Joel, you're gonna stay out there and see. That's how we do it.
I'll be the permanent weight.
So how is this compost different from the pile that's in the back?
Okay, the pile is the compost that will, once it breaks down, we'll bring it in here and then the worms will eat through that.
Okay.
So that's compost, which is very good soil, but this is adding value to that compost by letting the worms turn it into worm castings. Now every pot here has worms in it. And what's happening is those worms are remediating, they're cleaning up anything bad in that soil. And we bring fresher compost and put it on top of the screen. And the worms actually crawl through the screen to get from down here. So we're trying to get them to move from down here to the upper side. So that's what's happening here. Now the worms are on the upper side of the screen.
I had set up a training for some folks in Chicago that I was working with a farmer outside of the city who had been playing around with vermiculture and doing training and that kind of thing. And so I asked Will to come along. This gentleman was showing us all of his red worms, and they were in boxes in his shed because it gets pretty cold there in the winter. And so he invited us all to sort of reach in and pick some up. So I asked Will if he would please hold the worms so that I could take a picture of them in his hands, and he started laughing and said, "Listen, I don't really, not really interested in touching these worms." And so I egged him on, and in fact he did. We got a great shot. I still have that picture of him with his hands and the worms, and convinced him to give it a shot up at Growing Power. This was back before it was Growing Power, when he was working at a project called Farm City Link, working with youth. And he, at that day, at that workshop, we both really saw how much the youth responded to playing with the worms and to, and so that's how we got started. So Heifer provided some funding to start a vermiculture project in Milwaukee with Will.
That's really what we're really appreciative to work with people and to really grow those relationships. To add to that, a relationship that we've had for many years now is with Heifer Project International. Heifer Project International is an international organization supporting community groups through animal husbandry, developing community development projects, working with goats and cows and other kind of livestock. Well, here at Growing Power, do you know what our livestock is? Worms. People don't often think about worms as livestock, but we treat our worms carefully, tenderly. That's our livestock.
They're worms,
Next would be Wilbert St. Julian. We call him Saint. I used to play ball against this guy. When I retired, I came to Milwaukee and I used to beat up on this guy. But anyway, Saint is going to be doing the hoop house training along with some of the Mawib young men that he trains on a daily basis. Go!
Basically an organization to help young people like myself get jobs. I learned so much about aquaponics, as you see, about building hoop houses, about different plants, different soil, how to make the soil better, just a lot of things I thought I would never know. Working here at Growing Power, it has changed my whole mind around. I'm interested 100% in the pharma industry.
I also go to Independent Living. And the manager of the group home, he referred me to this job and talked to St. Julian. And St. Julian hired me. Before he hired me, he made me do 1 day of voluntary work. And seeing how that went, I came on time, did my hours, and after that, he hired me.
So how are you feeling? You're here 2 days. How are you feeling so far? You liking it?
I'm liking it, because it's something new. I never did nothing like this before. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of interesting. It ain't like an ordinary job. It's like a community thing.
Cool.
This is my first job my whole life when I'm 18. Just turned 18 last year. So, you know what I mean? This job was just, a blessing. I got out of jail and caught this job, so it was fresh. You know what I mean? I'm thankful. You know what I mean? I'm work hard.
My name is Deron Williams. I'm 17. I've been working at Growing Power for about a week now. I want them to show me how to run my own farm.
We'll be picking this week. So the idea, as we put in hundreds of these hoop houses around the city, this is what we can do. On asphalt, concrete, same thing. If you have the soil, it's all about having the soil. This is all about the soil. That's all it's all about. Well, a little bit more. You gotta have a little bit more. But what's that? 2 feet of 36-inch wide beds, 18-inch pathways between the beds. Okay. If you're going to go into this business, soil is first. So it's all about the soil. You can't have healthy food unless you have healthy soil.
Well, my relationship with Will Allen predates my relationship with Growing Power. I went to high school with Will's son, and he was another player on the basketball team at Marquette High School, a couple of years behind me, and so Jason and I were teammates at that time. And Will was, to me, just another one of the parents, but he was more than another one of the parents. He was, even at that time, a big looming figure, and he was someone who I was scared of 20 years ago. And I've come over the last 20 years to know much more about Will's life and his journey and the inspiration that he brings to people all around the world.
Hey Sarah, so where is this produce going?
This produce is yet to be determined. That's the official memo. The captain of the Dennis Sullivan was here asking, since there are 10 people that live aboard that ship until September, can they get the produce? Bartolotta has expressed interest inside. They've also got their little snack bar, but maybe it ends up back into Growing Power for production, or maybe the community at large just picks it. We put up a big sign. Help yourself.
Yeah.
So there's still that element is still in the planning phase.
Okay.
Since we won't get a harvest for a week.
Again, I met him when I was first in Congress, and there was interest from other members of Congress around the country to see if there were ways that we could help Growing Power and to help Will Allen. When I became mayor, my job was to make sure that we weren't doing anything as a city to impede the work that he was doing. So a lot of it was collaboration, but a lot of it was giving him the space that he needed and recognize that this was something that didn't necessarily fit within people's definition of what they thought should be occurring.
So tell me about this Green Corps and what projects you do and how you got to be a partner with Growing Power.
They actually were asking for volunteers to work with high school students. You know, I jumped to that opportunity. I wasn't going to pass that up. And I've been with it for like 5 or 6 years now since this started. Okay. I've been dealing with it. Yeah, I've been, nice. You know, and they good kids, yeah. You know, so.
So you see what the kids get out of it? Tell me.
They don't, you know, coming from urban areas, a lot of them have never touched a plant, vegetable in their life. So this is kind of an experience for them that's, you know, kind of cool.
Wow, so you see it. You see it.
Oh, yeah, firsthand.
Okay, and you what's your name? What's your name?
Latricia Morris, Urban Forestry Specialist.
And give these kids, these teenagers, a job. Like these teenagers that's walking around here who don't have a job, they don't have nothing to do, so they ain't got nothing to do but get in trouble all summer long. Right. You know what I'm saying? In and out of jail. They catching so many felonies, they ain't even building enough jails for the kids that they locking up.
You know what
and they ain't got to pay them a lot, pay them minimum wage, give them 3 days out the week. You know what I'm saying? Some money is better than no money.
Pastor Scott here. I'm Pastor Scott, but I have 2 boys that go to Maple Tree, Deshaun and Jonathan, and we're learning how to do a little farming. And this is the compost pile here, and we're gonna help enrich the soil, right? All righty.
Is there one boy that wants to touch the dirt and worms, and the other doesn't?
He said that's all right. I'll teach him when it comes to a place where we have to grow food for ourselves. Then he said he'll have to learn from his little brother how to do it.
When the sun goes down, you're the one I wanna be with. When the sun goes down, sing, you're the one I wanna be with. When the sun goes down, you're the one I wanna be with.
What we
when the sun goes down,
plan to really be able to provide the same healthy food to all of our citizens.
I'm Battalion Chief Aaron Lipsky, Milwaukee Fire Department. I manage all of our facilities and our entire fleet citywide for the entire department. This makes perfect use of an enormous vacant space in what has been a challenging area for the city of Milwaukee.
This is the start of it, and we'll soon have compost in there, and we'll be growing food starting in the fall throughout the winter. Right here in the middle of the city. And these are the kind of spaces that we need to find, and we'll be looking forward to working with the fire department if they have more spaces around the city. We'd love to be able to talk to you about that.
The greenhouses that we have, we can no longer afford to grow flowers like they used 2 years ago. And the greenhouses would deteriorate. So the idea was to maintain the greenhouses or perhaps sell them to Growing Power. And in the discussions with Will, we found that we were unable to sell them, take them down, and bring them to Growing Power. So the Plan B discussion that we went through was, how about Growing Power coming here?
People keep on learning. Soldiers keep on warring. World keep on turning. 'Cause it won't be too long
Growing Power's Commercial Urban Agriculture Training Program is a series of 5 weekend seminars designed for individuals who have made the decision to farm commercially in the city. The program features classroom as well as hands-on training experience and individual mentoring. Participants from all over the world leave this program with the knowledge and skills to start their own urban farming initiatives.
Amina Salahuddin from Columbus, Ohio. I'm affiliated with the CUA program, the Commercial Urban Agriculture Program at Growing Power in Milwaukee. I've been attending training from this January through May, a 5-month program. So yeah, basically I want to just duplicate what Growing Power is doing in my backyard. So I want to do sprouts, I want to have a fish farm, and I want to show people hopefully a means where they can generate income, sustain themselves, their families, right in their own backyard, you know, build up their community also, because you can't do it alone.
My name is Charles Bumman. I'm from Dallas, Texas. The name of my farm is Eaton Farms. I'm a chef by profession.
Jeremy Brasowski. I live in Washington, D.C., about 2 miles due north of the White House. I'm an entrepreneur, and I had a bunch of ideas that I was thinking about in the realm of agriculture in general and urban agriculture in particular.
My name's Nat Turner. I work in the lower 9th Ward in New Orleans.
My name's Mitra Stucklin, and I live in Raleigh, North Carolina.
When you're in the food industry, you understand what's going on with the growth of food. When you see corporate farms coming in, re-engineering seeds, re-engineering different crops and things like that. When you hear of farmers who are injecting their pigs and cows with antibiotics, these type of things are getting in our systems. So I wanted to get in to start growing food.
In November of 2008, I founded a project down there called Our School at Blair Grocery. I started coming down to New Orleans in 2006 after the hurricane with reconstruction brigades of students. I think we brought about 30 kids on our first trip. Other than growing tomatoes and cucumbers in my back garden, I didn't know anything about growing food. And I felt like if I was going to try to do something that was part of the urban agriculture landscape, I better learn something about growing food. And I figured the quickest way to get up to speed was to come study here.
I feel pretty passionate about, inspiring the next generation. I mean, I consider myself a young and beginning farmer, but I work with high schoolers. I coordinate a young farmer training program that is specifically for teenagers in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Where I've ended up, and what the project that I'm working on that's closest to launch is called Compost Cab, and it is a BP Compost Cab, and it is effectively a compost pickup service.
I work with young people starting at 8 years old, and then working with them until they're 18, and then moving them on after they're 18 into an opportunity matrix so they can make some money, whether it's hauling compost or harvesting fish or looking after chickens every day, right? All sustainable, locally grown stuff. These are kids who are forgotten. They are disposable, expendable children, and people don't care. They don't know what to do with them. And so then we put them at the forefront of the good food revolution.
Many of the things that we teach here at Growing Power are being replicated in their own cultural way, because I always tell people that none of this stuff is really new. We've been doing aquaponics since ancient times. We've been composting for hundreds and thousands of years. It's just that we put our little Growing Power touch to it, and you need to take these things back to your community and put your little touch to it and own it and feel good about it.
That's winter wheat right there. They grow winter wheat now. But see this field right here, nobody's growing anything in this field right
here. So, where's it from?
Sam.
Sam?
I didn't bring that out here.
Yes, you did.
You didn't bring the brewer's waste, Sam?
I brought the brewer waste.
And the leaves. Brewer waste. Those are the leaves from last year.
Okay, Mesa brought all that other stuff.
The coffee grounds, let me tell it, the coffee grounds are from Starbucks.
The leaves are from people that donated that don't use chemicals on their lawn. Some of all this produce and everything is from the Eastern Market. We just went and did dumpster diving and scavenger hunting, and we just pulled all that stuff together there.
Hey, I'm Nefera, and the farm manager out here at D-Town Farm. And we started D-Town Farm because there was a need for fresh produce to be in the city of Detroit. People that live in Detroit do not have access to fresh fruits and vegetables. We don't have neighborhood grocery stores. All the big grocery stores left. We don't have any markets. If we go, like on the east side, there's the Eastern Market. But basically, if we want fresh fruits and vegetables, we have to go out of our communities and out of our cities. So we realized that, and we decided that we should plant something. So we went to the city and we asked them to identify some land for us, and they gave us like 2 acres here. And we started planting maybe about 3 years ago here at Rouge Park. And we're here opening up a regional training center here with Will Allen and Growing Power.
Cool, and what are you going to do today?
Today we're going to be constructing a hoop house over in this area, and that will be to extend our growing season, because in Michigan it gets cold and we have a short window to grow things. So with the hoop house we can extend it.
You know, part of being free is having food which is life-sustaining and which nourishes our bodies and gives us the energy to continue to develop a vision for the future. So we are very committed to what we call in Kiswahili kujichagulia, or self-determination. And so this project is a model of self-determination.
That's it for now? All right. So everybody gonna be okay with getting dirty, right? Because I need everybody to work today. This is gonna be history right here. So just wanted to welcome everybody, and let's get started. And we got Will Allen's gonna explain to everybody what he's gonna be doing and where everybody's gonna be.
Rittal has taken the challenge to do this work, and it really just not Rittal, but we need lots of volunteers and people, and we've signed on with them to be for this to be a regional training center. So we'll come here. We have signed a contract with them to come here over the next 5 years and help them develop their project, provide training, and we're really looking forward to this. We have 16 of these regional training centers around the U.S., and it's a model that we think is a model that we can provide more training in regional areas. The expectation is not for everybody to come to Milwaukee to our national training center. Some people can't travel, and so we're taking our training out on the road. So what we came here with our 24-foot truck, and we brought supplies and everything, and we're going to build this aquaponic system, which is just a start.
This particular area that we're in right now is known as the Forgotten Triangle. It's a pocket of Cleveland that has been long forgotten, long overlooked. There's a plethora of vacant land, which has become a notorious illegal dumping site. You drive up and down blocks here, and there's maybe some streets that have 5, 6 houses, and the rest of the lots are vacant lots. So because Growing Power was willing to put their name on the line along with Rittal, we really are starting to see a lot more interest in developing a real urban agricultural zone, which is the plan here.
Our location?
Yes. Tell me about it.
We're going to be in the heart of the city.
How are you going to compost in the heart of the city?
Well, we're going to be in the heart of the city where there is maybe not a lot of housing around because of complaints, but yet we do know that we have to get the support from the community wherever we are.
So what we're doing is creating a new industry. This urban agriculture, local food, that'll have hundreds of different categories of jobs and thousands of different jobs. This type of agriculture will be things like vertical farms. Some cities where there's not enough horizontal land to grow food, we're going to have to go up in the air, like New York City or Vancouver, British Columbia, where there's not a lot of land.
Vertical farms are a new concept in the world. When this gets built, it'll be the first one constructed in the entire world. So as Will became more known and understood in the country, he came back and said to us, well, what I want to do now is to build a vertical farm. So we sat down and talked about what his vision was. Began about 2 years ago to develop rough concepts.
So I think that's the future, to be able to feed communities. These buildings can feed a lot of people in community. For example, this facility right here feeds about 10,000 people. Our cities are just littered with old factory buildings. We can do aquaponics, grow fish. There's huge opportunity. Right now, 50% of our fish is farm raised. That's going to go to 75%. So there's big opportunity for people to develop businesses around aquaculture, because there's a big upswing in fishing as our oceans and rivers become more polluted. We're going to have to raise fish. We're going to have to farm raise fish. So all these buildings could be used to grow food inside, mushrooms and so forth, and very integrated ag systems. It's not like growing one crop, but many crops.
Like, growing your food is not slave labor. That's freedom, you know, being able to work the land and feed yourself from the land and support your community through the land is incredibly important. And for people who understand those, you know, sort of for lack of a better word, like the magic, the chemistry, the science of feeding the soil and what that really means and what that means for community transformation is really important.
Like, I found this place in my neighborhood, like when they first started the Cabrini Green Farm, which was like across the street from my building, and they were just having an opening about just volunteer for like a couple years, just coming out, hanging out, taking food and stuff home to my family. And then I met Erica. I worked with her with artwork and other little projects. And then I started doing a youth corps. Then I started going out of town in Milwaukee. I'm just got to digging, like, yeah, I'm feeling this. And then I knew so much, so I didn't really have a regular intern. So I kind of was special. It kind of pushed me up. They was giving me more opportunity, more projects, more stuff to work on. Now, staff. Last year in high school, good food revolution is working.
Community gardens, community farms, farm stands, farmers markets are a way to start bringing food into those communities and giving access to folks. What you see in these greenhouses and in our production system, the same food, we're able to get it to all aspects, all people in our community. And that's a great deal of the work that we do in terms of bringing people together in a multicultural way.
And we all talk about and are very cognizant and should be about what our carbon impact is, about what our global footprint is, and what type of planet, what type of world are we going to leave our children and our grandchildren. And Will takes this very, very seriously. Stewardship of the land is one of the main things that we have as human beings, is how we use it and how do we leave it. And by farming locally, all of the benefits I talked about already, but a huge side benefit for the planet if we can bring this to scale globally.
That's what it's all about, and that's what kind of keeps me going, because I like challenges. Being a former athlete, you know, I like competition and I like challenges. I've always wanted to guard the best player, take the last shot in the game or whatever. You know, I like that kind of challenge, and if you can transfer that over into something like this, it becomes a very powerful and good thing for the community. They bring 100 yards of material to our south side composting site at the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District, where we have 4 acres site where we do our composting. We'll do 22 million pounds of food residue into compost this year. Because we have to grow new soil to grow good food. We have to go back to the soil fertility of the 1950s to get people food that's going to sustain them and heal them. And we have to make that food accessible to everybody. We shouldn't have different categories of food for different economic levels in our community. We need to be able to get the same food to everybody in our community.
If I can feed the people that are hungry and in need, if I can show somebody how to plant a seed, if I can compost root faith into fertile soil, then my living has not been in vain. I can build a hoop house where none exists. If I can change food deserts into fields of watercress, if I can show our farmers how to grow and be blessed, then my living shall not be in vain.
I'm taking back a message that if we believe something, we can really achieve it. And the most important resource that we have now is the soil.
My name is Sylvia Loach, a Kenyan, and I've learned a lot from the Growing Power. I'm so grateful I had a chance to come here to see the small space in Growing Power, growing everything from fish, goats, mushroom, beekeeping, vegetables, call it, everything within a small space. So when I get back home, I'll tell them how to utilize the small spaces we have down there. Thank you so much.
A man who was just playing basketball and now is now becoming a champion in growing food.
My name is Oba Adejigbe Egunjobi Adefumi. I am the traditional ruler of Oyotunji Yoruba village in South Carolina. That in the business of restoring culture and restoring an ancient way of life, which we do daily at Oyotunji, we decided that and realized from a brother named Malik Yakini from D-Town Farm said that there's no culture without agriculture, and that was really shocking for us. And we were thrust into this movement just by the spirits and by destiny, because it's obviously a part of life to eat good.
Yes! I've been on television before. I did too. 3 times.
We went to DC, us 4 went to DC.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Meet the president.
Meet the president. And we saw the president, the wife, the kids, and the dog. Yeah.
What you've seen is just the beginning. We're at the infancy stages of building a new food system. The next generation will really be able to take what we have done so far, where we've gone from a small movement to now a revolution. Now we need to pass on to this next generation.